All right, as you can see, I'm literally just holding this camera. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm just here at the Innovo office. So here we are. And if you're listening to this, I'm just holding this camera in front of my face. I was definitely going to bring a phone stand and record this episode right before one of my sessions, but here we are. I'm just holding it. I also got a different mic. I'm trying out these little Bluetooth mics because I'm doing a separate YouTube channel for fitness, totally not related to this channel at all, but you might see a little bit of that later down the road. But here we are. So I wanted to just record an episode about cognitive fusion. Now, we've talked about this quite a lot, and this is a huge concept in acceptance and commitment therapy. Man, dude, my arm is getting so tired. There we go. There we go. This video is not going to do well on YouTube, but I'm just sending it anyway. So with in acceptance and commitment therapy, cognitive fusion is a big concept. And this is the idea that when you have a thought, you fuse to that thought, or you connect yourself to it. Rather than viewing it as a thought, you're viewing yourself in context of what you're thinking. Kind of crazy. You can also look at it as in getting on the train of thought. You hear people say all the time, like, oh, I lost my train of thought, or I got on a train of thought and kind of went downhill from there, whatever you want to say. But that's another way of saying cognitive fusion. You're fusing to that thought, or you're jumping on this train of thought. Now, the thing about cognitive fusion when it comes to addiction is that you find yourself having an urge and you jump on that train, right? Whether it's a video that you've recently watched or a trigger that you saw earlier in the day on Instagram or YouTube, wherever, and you jump on this train. Now, you can be riding this train for hours. You don't necessarily have to. A trigger doesn't always mean immediate PMO, right? A lot of the times you'll have an urge, and initially you'll realize that you're having this urge, like, oh crap, and you'll do your best to try and like fight it and do whatever. But most of the time, you're not actually jumping off the train, or I shouldn't say it that way. You're not getting off your train of thought. You're simply, how do I want to put it, closing your eyes while you're still on the train. You know what I'm saying? You're not actually defusing or getting off of this train to begin with when you have that initial trigger. And we'll talk about different ways to get off the train here in a minute. We've already talked about all of this. It's not new, but it takes a lot of practice. And I'd like to bet that most of you aren't practicing this, at least not every day. But when it comes to the cognitive fusion, this then dictates our behavior. So let's say you have an urge to go watch porn, and you fight it off for a minute, but then you just start to give in. What then happens? It modifies your behavior. You start to isolate yourself. You go to the bathroom, you do whatever you need to try and do to go eventually PMO. And so this cognitive fusion is going to lead to your behaviors, which then eventually leads to your overall experiences. So if we can change how we fuse to our thoughts and change the relationship we have there, essentially that's going to change your behavior. Switching arms here. It's going to change your behavior to then change your overall experiences that you have when it comes to really anything. This doesn't just have to be with pornography addiction. This is anything. You take anything else outside of addiction, like even just simply snacking. Okay? Think of your favorite snack. One of my top snacks are Skittles and Reese's. Not at the same time, but you get it. When I think of Reese's, okay, my mouth starts to salivate, literally, right now. So I'm fusing to this thought of eating Reese's. I'm going all in, baby. I want some of those Reese's. And that is affecting, at least starting to affect, my actual behavior. And it starts inside of my body. I am salivating a little extra to get ready to eat this delicious Reese's that's actually not in front of me right now, which is then going to prepare me for my experience of eating the Reese's. Okay, switching arms. My right arm gets way more tired. Jeez. And all of this cognitive fusion happens really quick. It's most of the time not going to be like a nice slow process where it's like, man, over the past hour I've been slowly fusing to this thought. This is easy. I'm just going to get off the train right here. No, most of the time it's immediate. You jump on the train, you fuse to that thought of eating a Skittles. Practice it right now, serious. Close your eyes and think about your favorite candy, your favorite treat. Think about eating it, really fuse to the thought of eating that snack. And your mouth is going to salivate. You're going to start internally preparing to eat this snack. And depending on how excited you get, I mean, you could even get a little dopamine just thinking about it. It's kind of funny. Now that's fusing to a thought. And of course, that exercise isn't necessarily a harmful one, right? I mean, it's just a little snack. But now imagine that happen with anything you're struggling with is like, pornography, right? You have a trigger, you think of a video, you see an attractive woman walking down the street, instant trigger, and you fuse to that thought. You jump on that train immediately. Now, when it comes to getting off, that's not always an easy thing to do. But in acceptance and commitment therapy, if you remember, what's the next step? Acceptance. Yes. Yes. I knew you knew. How exciting. But we need to accept this thought. Okay, accept the fact we're on the train. You can't be delusional and think, oh man, I'm not on this train right now, when you are clearly on a train, my guy. Okay? So take a deep breath. Come to the realization that you are on this train of thought right now. Okay? And it's not necessarily a bad thing because you can get off at any time. Anytime. You're not stuck on it for the next hour. You're not stuck on it until the next stop. You can get off at any time. The cool thing about this train is that there's a stop every second. It's one heck of a train. But you can get off whenever you want. Here, let me do this. Let me put the camera on the couch. There we go. But you can get off at any time. So there's no need to freak out if you get on. Okay? The first step is to accept the fact that you're now on this train. Now, what do you do about that? The next step is to get off. One of the best ways to get off of this train or to defuse from your thought is obviously first acceptance, but then acknowledge the thought that you're having. Like, oh man, I'm having the urge to go PMO right now. Interesting. I wonder why. And spark a sense of curiosity about why you're having this thought to begin with. Maybe you use the HALT acronym. Are you hungry, angry, lonely, tired? Are you bored? Are you stressed? What is it? And then you can use that to direct what direction you need to go as far as your behavior. But we need to realize first that you're on this train to begin with. And I think that's just where I'm going to go with this for this episode. And we've talked about different ways in past episodes to get off, and we'll keep talking about this because I don't think we can get enough. But you remember that analogy of the tug of war. So you are in this tug of war with this monster, and you can never win. the tug of war if you engage in it. You can go to the gym, try and get real buff to try and beat this monster. But every time you engage in this tug of war, which is fusing to these thoughts and trying to fight them, you're always going to lose. And you're always that looks like giving in to an urge, right? So how do you win at that point? The key is to just drop the rope or get off the train. Because you can. Nothing's stopping you from that. And it starts with acceptance and then acknowledging the train or acknowledging the thought. Oh man, I'm having an urge to watch porn right now. And a lot of people actually even thank their brain. Could say, hey, brain, I appreciate this. Thank you. I mean, I understand that you're trying to make me feel better and your suggestion is to go watch porn. It's not the most helpful, but I appreciate you. And so you see how that immediately takes the power out of this thought to the train. The train just stops at that point. Like, oh man, like where were we even going then? You know what I'm saying? And so I know that can be a little confusing. I may not be explaining it the best way that I can, which is why I'm going to keep talking about it and keep helping myself explain this better. But the key thing I want you to take away from this is that no matter what thought you fuse to, whether it's to go eat some Skittles or to go watch porn, I know those are two very different things. You don't have to actually give in to those behaviors because you can get off the train at any time you want. And so when you do have an urge, you don't need to be scared, don't need to be nervous. It's normal for that to happen, for you to be a little nervous. But know that you don't need to be because you're not stuck on that train for long and you can get off. Now, doing all of this takes a lot of practice. Really, it's just like anything. I mean, any sport, any gym, or going to the gym, trying to lift a bunch of weight. If you go try and play in the NFL right now, you're going to get clapped, dude, okay? I'm sorry. You may think you're tip top, okay? You're going to get clapped. Unless you're already in the NFL, then good for you. But you need practice, okay? What you can do is go through the exercise we just went through during this episode. Think about a thought, really fuse to it, and you can do it with something harmless like a snack. Okay, you don't have to think about a trigger and things like that to just start an actual trigger for you. You don't need to go that far. You can do it with literally anything. But go through that exercise every day. Think about eating a Reese's, really fuse to it. See where that starts in your body and where you start to feel that. And then hop off the train. Accept the fact that you're on it and acknowledge those thoughts. Say, oh man, I'm having the desire to eat a Reese's right now. Like, I appreciate that, brain. I'm really hungry. My blood sugar's low, and I'm sure I could really benefit from that, but as of right now, I'm not going to eat it. So I appreciate you. And you'll see that you're going to be able to hop off that train, and you'll be good to go. This exercise may not be helpful for everybody. I find it really helpful for me. But the key here is to practice every day. If the first time it doesn't work for you, let's say you have an urge tomorrow when you try this, it doesn't work, that's okay. You just need more practice, that's all. And this isn't a guarantee that it's going to work every time, even after you've practiced. But it will create a buffer for you to be able to change your behavior. Okay, give it a shot. Let me know down below if this is helpful. Or if it was just confusing and I sounded like a loony the whole time, then let me know too. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys next week.